I'm just going to gossip for a bit about football, about which I know nearly nothing, and acting, about which I know, or I think I know, quite a lot. How are the two linked? Let me tell you very quickly. Leicester City this year have done something absolutely magic. A team that wasn't considered to be top class has won the Premier League. Brilliant. I think they're wonderful. Why do I think they're wonderful? What made them different from other teams in the Premier League with magnificent players in them? Well, the main thing that made them different was they acted as a team. They didn't have loads of silly, self-centered prima donnas, any one of whom thought that they were somehow better than other players in the team. There weren't colossal egos running around the football pitch pretending to be wonderful while thinking that they weren't well enough supported by their team members. Exactly the opposite was true. They were all very, very talented and gifted players, it's true, but they played as a team. They played together. Now, this is the link that I'm about to make with a play that I have just been in. In a way, I wish I'd done this video blog before we actually performed the play, because the play is now over, and if you didn't manage to come and see it, well, tough luck, you've missed it, but you've missed something really great. The play was written by a guy called Daniel Hoffman-Gill, who's primarily an actor, but he's a bloody good writer as well, and I think I know a thing or two about bloody good writers. I've been very lucky in my career. I've worked with people like Howard Brenton and David Hare and Stephen Poliakoff and Snoo Wilson and David Edgar and Brian Clark and Trevor Griffiths. I mean, these are some of the greatest playwrights of my generation. Magnificent, very, very clever guys. I know I'm name dropping, so what? If you don't like it, piss off. But I have worked with, some of the best guys around, and I'm just about to slot Daniel Hoffman-Gill into that same bracket. Very clever, a very powerful play, a wonderful piece of creative writing, a hard, tough piece, a play with bollocks. A really good play. Now, that didn't mean because it was a hard play and a tough play and not an easy play in many ways to come to terms with, that it wasn't an entertaining play. It was very clever. It was very funny. And that's the technique, I think, that marked his gift out on this play from a lot of other lesser writers would have kind of beaten you over the head with a heavy-handed didactic piece, and he didn't. I'm not going to go into details now about the play. It's too late for me to do it, and it would be pointless for me to try and tell you the story of the play. Just that if this play does get resurrected, whoever the cast may be, I strongly suggest you go and see it. But one of the things that I do want to do now, and I'm going to read this off a list on my computer screen, because I don't want to leave anybody's name out. But one of the things that I really loved about this play was the company of the people with whom I was working, the other actors. They were really, really good. I'm proud to have been part of this group. I was part of an ensemble. I was part of a team. We were like Leicester City. Nobody was walking around with a big ego, behaving like I'm the most important person in this play and everybody else is there to support me. None of that crap, none of that shit. These were just really good people. So I want to read out their names. A young man called Chris Lund, and now I'm referring to my screen. I need to read these because I just don't want to forget anyone, because they all deserve to be mentioned. So let's start with Chris Lund. Sophie Ellaby, a wonderful young actress. By the way, everybody else in this play was a lot younger than me. I mean, by a ton, by a mile. But they didn't treat me as the old git who had to be tolerated. They really looked after me. They made me feel that I was part of the team, and I hope I did. I hope I did the same to them. I hope that I was inclusive. I really enjoyed their company. Very good people to work with. So Sophie Ellaby, Joe Doherty, Tim Bagley, Dominic Grove, and myself. That made up the cast. The writer, as I say, was Daniel Hoffman Gill. Keep an eye out for this guy. He doesn't write a lot of plays. He's primarily an actor, as I know I've already said, but he is a writer. You will see his name again. Go and see his stuff because it's very good. And we were directed by a woman, a clever, very clever, highly intellectual, I believe, woman called Fiona Buffini. And that was at the Nottingham Playhouse, and it was very good. There's another play too that I want to mention in this same context, because it was about 10 years ago now that I was in this play. Also, as it happens, it was done at the Nottingham Playhouse, written by Stephen Lowe, with a lot of input from Alan Dosser, who was also the director of it, and he's a clever and creative bloke. Well, they both are, Stephen and Alan. Very clever, very creative blokes. They're people of my generation and people that I've known for many, many years. But I want to mention the people who were in that play as well, for exactly the same reason, because I think this is really important. If by any chance there are any young actors who come onto my website and look at this video blog that I'm making at the moment, I'd really like you to pay attention to this. I think it's worth saying. In the same way as you can see that I'm passionate about the success of Leicester City and about the success of the play that I've just been in, I feel the same about this play as well. And I want to mention the names of the other actors who were in it, because I've been in plays before with sometimes with very starry casts, sometimes not, but occasionally you'll get some arsehole who walks around the stage not really interested in the play, not really committed to the words and to the writing of the original creator, to the writer who put this down on paper in the first place and gave us an opportunity to be in it. You get actors and they just bore me bloody rigid, because all they're interested in doing really is their subtext is, look at me, aren't I wonderful, aren't I interesting, aren't I beautiful, how can I fucking distract you? They're people who don't understand, who don't have a commitment and an understanding of where the focus should be in the play at any given time. I don't want to start a long rant. I do a lot of ranting. I'm a bit of a ranter, I know, from time to time. I don't want to rant about this, but I do want people who listen to this to know that if you are an actor, if you are in the theatre, then just remember this. You're part of a team. If you play as part of a team, you'll go to the bloody top, like Leicester City did. If you don't, you won't. You'll just be yet another boring, ego-centered wanker. And I'd hate that. I don't want to watch you either, not being like that. So, remember what I'm saying. It does have some wisdom contained in it. Anyway, I want to mention these other actors because they were all wonderful too. And I'm going to read off my list again because I don't want to leave anyone out, because they were just such a good bunch. And I had a wonderful time with them. Laura Martin Simpson, wonderful actress. Keep an eye out for her. She's just bloody good. The same I can say of all the others, and I'm just about to name them now. Jamie Kenner, a wonderful actor and a very funny guy and a good friend. He's become a good friend. Ben Goddard, who was also our musical director, very talented and just lots of fun. Dave Nichols, who I'm really sorry to say has now died. He died a year or so only after we finished the play. He had cancer and it took him away quickly, and I'm sorry you've gone, mate. Colin Tarrant, the same thing, also, I'm afraid to say, has died. A lovely bloke, a good friend, and sorry that he's gone. Ken Bradshaw, a smashing guy, and, you know, really good company, and another actor called John Lloyd Fillingham, all of whom we just had a good time. We worked well together. And one of the reasons for the success of this play, this was a play about Brian Clough, called The Spirit of the Man, that Stephen Lowe had, as I say, I've mentioned this bit already, but Stephen Lowe wrote it with a lot of input from Alan Dosser. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful play to be in as well. A lot of people, and people I didn't know, people I have no relationship with at all. I'm not talking about friends who say nice things to you because they're friends. But people would often come up to me after the play and say, and they all made or not all of them, but many of them made a similar comment, which was, do you know one of the things that made us realise just how much we were enjoying the play? And I'd say, no, I don't. And they'd say, well, we saw how much you guys were enjoying doing it. And I think that was a really important aspect of the play. We got on together. We were a team. We were an ensemble. And I think that's what was, in a substantial measure, of course, the original creation, Stephen Lowe's original creation. That's the important bit. But our addition to that was our enjoyment of it and the fact that we worked as an ensemble, and it was one of the reasons. Of course, I'm not overlooking the fact that Brian Clough is a major, major, major hero in Nottingham, and so he should be a wonderful guy, and I'm sorry he's not here anymore either. However, one of the things that made that play very successful was the fact that we all liked each other, we worked with each other, we trusted each other, and we weren't an ensemble. Got that completely around my neck. I mean, we were an ensemble. There was nobody in that company who was just kind of arsing around and being a prima donna and saying, look at me, look at me, look at me. I hate people like that. They're wankers. Anyway, there weren't any wankers in that team. And there weren't any wankers in the team that I've just been working with either. Daniel's play, again at the Nottingham Playhouse. It's a good place for new material. Anyway, that's it. Rant over. No, it wasn't a rant really. I was fond memories. That's my blog. So if you have been watching and listening, thank you. And if you haven't been, to you. Right. Bye.